Request everyone to settle down, please. We are ready to start our next session. May we request you to please settle down. The participants near the stage, may we please request you to settle down. We have networking time over lunch and the breaks. May we request everyone to please settle down. We do have time for networking over lunch and also at the end of the conference. We need to start the next session. We request everyone to please settle down. So welcome back after the tea break. Our session next is on Beyond Fabs, Driving Semiconductor Self-Reliance. The speakers are Mr. Sandeep Gupta, MD India Alpha Wave Semi, who is the moderator. I request the speakers to please join me on stage. Then we have Mr. Ashok Mishra, Semiconductor Technology Advisor. Mr. Ashwani Bhatt, VP Engineering, Lattice Semiconductor. Mr. K. Sridhar, CEO, Semiconductor Fabless Accelerator Lab, and Mr. Kausik Mandal from L&T Semiconductor Technologies. Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today. With this, I hand it over to the moderator, Mr. Sandeep Gupta. Request everyone to please settle down.
Am I audible? Okay. Puneri, chala basuya आता. Suru करू. All right. Welcome everyone. I'm Sandeep Gupta. I represent Alpha Wave Semi. I'm also the executive committee member for IESA, which is India Electronics and Semiconductor Association. I'm very honored to be part of this panel discussion where we are going to talk about how we can drive self-reliance in semiconductor, which I'll talk a little bit more about that. But first, I want to introduce our panelists here, very accomplished people from the industry with more than 25 years each of them. So overall, probably 125 years of experience on this stage right now. So I'll start with Mr. Ashok Mishra. He was one of the architects of SAFAL, which is Semiconductor Fabless Acceleration Company Limited, which was started in Bangalore to support semiconductor companies. And beyond that, he's done a lot of work as a consultant, but now he runs his own startup called Aritrak Technologies, which is doing tremendous work in the field of power electronics. Welcome, Ashok. Welcome to have you. Very happy to have you on board. Next, we have Mr. Ashwani Bhatt, who's the VP for Lattice Semiconductors. Lattice recently opened their center in Pune, so another semiconductor company. And I'm happy to have him here because we will get a perspective from someone who's from an MNC. Who's been working with international companies, global companies, and bring in that perspective on how Indian semiconductor ecosystem can take that forward, and how it can help them. Next, I have Mr. K. Sridhar. Thank you, sir, for joining us. He is the CEO of SAFAL. Again, as I mentioned, it is a great ecosystem that has been built to support semiconductor companies and take them forward. They've incubated a lot of startups. I recently read one of the companies which was incubated at SAFAL called Morphing Machines. I think they received 40 crore funding, additional funding, right? Yeah, so that's the power of an incubation center, and I'm hoping Mr. Rajayji will have something similar in a couple of years from Pune as well. And then last I have, but not least, of course, Mr. Kaushik Mandal from L&T Semiconductors. Now this is another Indian semiconductor company, and well-funded, relatively well-funded, I would say, as compared to a startup. And so I'm very happy to have this kind of a panel, which is a very mixed panel. We have an ecosystem partner, we have an MNC partner, we have a startup founder, we have an Indian semiconductor company as well. So I am hoping to get a lot of different perspectives. Now, semiconductors is a very, very broad field. It starts with chip design, goes to fabrication, packaging, test, validation, then it gets integrated into systems, PCB manufacturing, and then beyond that, again, test and validation, and finally it gets shipped to the customers. Throughout this process, there are innumerable materials, components, gases, fabrication technologies, research that comes into play. Having 100% self-reliance is just a pipe dream for all of us. That will never happen. No country, probably except China, no other country can achieve that as of today. But what we can certainly aim to achieve is to grab control of the critical systems that are necessary for this country. And my aim of this discussion is to figure out how we can do that. I'm going to be a little bit strict on time. I've got my own timer going on. I want to keep it within the time limit, so please excuse me if I interrupt you in between. Also for the audiences, I will say what we are going to do for the question and answer sessions. I want to keep about 10 minutes for Q&A session. I think everyone has a pen and pad. If you don't, please grab one, or we can arrange one for you. Please write down your questions, and we will collect them towards the end of the session. So then it becomes much faster so that we can answer a lot more questions. Otherwise, if we just pass around the mic, a lot of time is spent just doing that. So thank you everyone. And once again, let me start the discussion by talking about the challenges from each one's perspective in terms of driving self-reliance. And also, just to keep it real, my aim for this discussion is to come up with actionable items for MCCIA, which 1 year later, when we have the follow-on conference, we can say that we have worked on this, and this is where we have progressed. So let's hear it from Ashokji from a co-founder point of view, from a founder point of view. What are the challenges that a semiconductor company faces?
Thank you, Sandeep. See, any startup ecosystem requires three things to thrive: access to capital, access to talent, and access to market, right? And no prizes in guessing that. Now, semiconductor startups are no different, but uh, the situation for semiconductor fabless startups in India is still very, very grave. Access to capital, thanks to all that hype which is there around semiconductors today, people in fabless has started to get some attention, but the risk capital which is flowing is certainly not enough. It's flowing in few millions. And a semiconductor, so for example, we spoke of morphing machine. While I'm happy that they have raised $4 million, a similar company in US would raise $50 million. So it's like when I flew from Bangalore, if I don't have enough fuel to reach to Pune, I will crash somewhere in middle of nowhere. That is what may happen to a lot of these fabless companies who are raising capital to fly, but not to land. Second problem is of talent, but I won't put my money on the talent, because if I have solved access to capital problem, I can solve talent problem, right? I can compete with the best pay packages and stock options, etc., right? The third is access to market, which essentially means access to OEMs, our own OEMs. But while we consume 100 billion or rather $30 billion worth of semiconductors every year, our OEMs consume close to $8 to $10 billion worth of semiconductor every year. But that all business is going to people outside, right? That is, I call Gora syndrome, right? So we buy it from Goras, but we don't buy from our own people. Now, to make matter worse, in Orient, we have got Goras who are cheap also. I mean, cheap is probably not the right word, but we have got affordable Goras, right? So I think, if we continue to do that, we will have our mobile phone moment, right? There was a time about 15 years back when we had our mobile brands among the top 10 mobile brands in the world. And today we are nowhere because we continue to trade, we did not invest on technology. So I would encourage all the OEMs here to really work with not Goras, not affordable Goras, but brown people like me to take the stuff forward. So that is from me.
That was a good one. Hi, this is Shwani. So we'll talk about the challenges first. For me, we have started here, Lattice Semiconductors in Pune last year. We grew to about 100 people in about 6, 8, 9 months time frame. The challenges that I have seen from my perspective to start a company here, this is an inside-out view from a US MNC starting the operations here. One is the logistics side. So from a logistic perspective, if you have to get stuff in and out, then it becomes a challenge for us. For example, if we have to set up the packaging here and we have to send boards back and forth, it is a challenge for us today to how to do that. Thanks to Stpi, a lot of those things were resolved through Ajay is here through him, but that remains a challenge for us at the moment. The other thing is that if we have to do some specialized stuff, so for example, we are setting up a post-silicon validation team here. We want to do the post-silicon validation in Pune. For that, even getting the talent that we really need for those niche skill sets, the availability is very, very limited. So those things are something that we try to get from outside, but again, we are not getting the resources out of. So we're not getting the resources out of Pune. We go to other cities, but at the end of the day, it's even the Indian pool. So we get talent from outside to manage some of those activities, but additionally, I see today that there are a lot of things that we want to do and complete, but we are not able to do that right now because we don't have that kind of a skill set available inside. The other thing from a challenge perspective for a MNC here is on the CapEx side. So while we want to invest a lot of in our R&D labs, in our data centers, there's a lot of lag in our customs when we pass through those channels. So for us, we got into Stpi, but for startup perspective for India, what the challenges are, I think he talked about it very well, is these are very capex intensive actually. There's a lot of money that's there. The gestation period is too much for this. It's a multi-year cycle from a POC to a productization. So there are challenges to that level as well.
Thank you, Ashwini ji. All right. So, actually, particularly for Sridhar ji, what I want to hear from you is, because so many startups get incubated at Safal or have been incubated at Safal, what are the challenges that they face in going from 1 to 3 level and then 3 to 6 level? Maybe that's the point where you let them be on their own. But those two sort of challenges that I would like to hear from you.
Before getting into the challenges, I would step back and look at it. Why is it unique? Why is it Safal is being talked so much, and why is it important for having into it? Okay. Yes, it is a capital intensive kind of things. EDA tools is one of the major ones, which is it is now being covered from different sources, but still there are something which will be very specific. Okay. It has to be addressed from the individual markets where they are trying to focus into it. They need some specialized tools, specialized laboratories kind of things into it. So that's one thing. And Safal is successful because it is not an individual kind of thing. It's an industry-driven government, quasi-government kind of things which protects the whole thing from all these aspects of it into it, okay? It is from the mentors who are part of the Safal system, which makes it a different and a successful things. All of them are part of MNCs. All of them are there into it. They put maximum times to make it happen into it. It has been structured so that the participation from the industry is the maximum to make it a successful event into it, which actually addresses many of the points which have been discussed. One is the GTM, which is need to be there, go-to-market kind of things. All the necessary funding which needs to be addressed, be it government programs or connect to the VCs. So educating the VC community is also one of the things which is being driven from our side to make it happen locally into it. That's the other ones into it. There are challenges wise, like Ashok was also mentioning, is if morphing machine raised some amount here, if the same company was present in Silicon Valley, the valuation is almost like 20x kind of things into it. Why? Because they are very good at positioning and then addressing the marketing segments they need to do into it. And this requires some kind of skilling kind of things. I mean, when individual promoters or investors comes into the pictures, you need to know how to position it into it. Where the position of the company, positioning of the whole technology, what they're working into, is also very important. That is shaped up and given in. This is done because all the governing council members, as well as the advisor who are part of that, are experts in the areas into it. We pick those people and address to connect to that and then getting the advantage of that. So that's the differentiation into it. Like you were also saying, the details are in actually, the nitty-gritties are in the details, how you execute, how you actually drive the whole things into it, okay? I believe that every state should have equivalent of Safal in their representations. And we have been giving inputs to even Mccia from the DLI portion, design kind of things into it. But when it comes to execution, it's like an analogy of a cricket things. I mean, my colleague always mentions that into it. We have an India team, but we need to have state level teams to really get to that situations. You cannot have one team saying the whole kind. Mccia will be able to do it, and they are positioning in a very good way. But here, on a state level, things is required. Karnataka is focusing on high performance computing and some of those portions of it. Pune has to, I think many of the speakers also mentioned it, is focused into the automotive segment which is required into it. And this is a challenging thing. I mean, you don't need to be 2 nanometers technology is not required. You can just, compound semiconductor, I think Sanjeev Keskar also brought it up, is power electronics related components and everything. It's a very typical things. You can address that. It's a low hanging fruit. But technology wise, you have to go the full cycle, but you can do those things into it. Forget about the complete fab kind of things, even for the design portions of it, we can focus that into it. So that's the challenging which can be addressed into it. So
Okay.
every region, we have been supporting for Odisha government also. I mean, I'm sure we will be extending to Pune also to make it happen. I mean, we have been in discussions with STPI here. We will do that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Mr. Mandal, I want to hear from you, even if you are a well-funded company,
Yes.
you do face challenges.
Are you able to hear me
Yes.
clearly? Okay. My case study is exactly opposite. What do you face when we are very well funded? Example is foundational IP. You don't have access to foundational IP, which are typically received when you have access to foundries, right? And the foundries are all outside India. Another example, ESD. ESD. Every chip nowadays would have ESD. And access to ESD capability is very limited in India. Very limited. Access to ESD libraries, you have to go to global foundries to get it, right? For example. Number three, even if you have money, I can only tell you, except for TSolve, there is no other company, very rare, who has test and packaging capability in India. And if you really want to make a full chip in India, made in India, full chip production ready, right? You need not only to design the chip, it has to be production ready. So you need lot of packaging, lead frame, testing capabilities in this country at scale, right? Yes.
No, go ahead.
So I'm just giving some examples, right? And then PCB.
Yeah.
There are a lot of PCB companies, but very rarely you get a PCB manufacturer who can make multi-layer PCB. Then you go to China, buy them at high cost, right? And then talking about talent. I would say we are talking a lot about skills, but my biggest point that I've seen is mindset. The product mindset has to be nurtured. And it is very difficult, I know, but it can be incubated. I think in L&T we have 400 people across the world, right? And what I see is the big gap is the entrepreneurial mindset and the product mindset. We have a lot of services company in India in semiconductor, but when you make a product, it's a completely different ball game, right? The risk appetite is much higher, right? The other thing what many people have told here is when you design a chip and how do you take it to the market. One of the things I want to really emphasize is we need to really train people in product management skills. It is not marketing, it is not sales, product management. And product management is a skill. If you go to any multinational, any startup outside India, semiconductors, product management is the fulcrum and engine of the company. Product management defines the roadmap, and defines the roadmap, brings the right inputs from the market, and they are the fulcrum for the business. And that skill will help all the designs that you're doing in India, making sure they're going into the market properly. Right. That is a unique skill that we should train in the institutes. These are some of the ground challenges that we see actually. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for those inputs.
Yeah. Yes.
So let me just sort of let me just summarize the challenges before we go into the solution space. Ashok ji talked about talent, market, capital. Some of these challenges can be solved if you have a good idea and if you have good capital. But I think more important than that, the challenge that you laid out was, are people not buying our stuff? So Swadeshi, believe in Swadeshi, I think that is the message you're giving. That is what is the challenge rather. Invest in Swadeshi. Then Ashwini ji, you talked about logistics, customs. For talent, again, you have to go outside of Pune, specifically if you talk about the Pune ecosystem. And then customs in general is a problem. If we want to do anything, then customs becomes a big issue. Sometimes things do get stuck in customs for months, and I think this is where probably MCCI can certainly help. Sridhar ji, you talked about, well, the reason I'm repeating all of this is so that I would now request each of the panelists to take up and talk about how we can look at solving one of these problems, right? I think, Sridhar ji, you talked about positioning and addressing the market. market gaps, similarly to Mr. Mandal, who talked about getting the product mindset and getting product managers trained in the company, in our ecosystem. And similarly, you talked about having establishing SUFFLE, which again, I think probably MCCI can certainly work with STPI over here. By the way, STPI should be renamed to HTPI, Hardware Technology Parks of India. But in any case, so these are the challenges. So now I would invite each of the panelists to talk about the solution space, and I would want to keep it more grounded in terms of where we can take actions, right? Where we can really take actions. So let's not talk about government should do this, government should do that. What is it as an organization, a group of industry folks present here can do when they come together? So who would like to go first?
Yeah. Okay. So a couple of things that we have done in the past 1 year, rather 3 years from Sierra and now Lattice Semiconductors. So we have been using this internship program from the colleges. So for a 1 year program, we get the...
Can you hold the mic closer? Because people aren't able to hear.
We get the engineers which are in the 4th year, train them for almost 1 year. And by the end of the year, they are like trained VLSI engineers. So in last 3 to 4 years, we have got more than 120, 125 engineers trained as VLSI. So they are now part of the system. And now they are working well and doing reasonably very well. So that is one what we have done. So from a logistics perspective, so we have made some changes. So from non-STPI, we went to STPI. A lot of things have changed with that because we had one of the complex projects that we want to get the entire R&D from China, the entire setup to Pune. In that, we went into a lot of things, but eventually, with the support of the STPI and others, we were able to do that. So that is one. The other thing that I want to talk about is here. So the purpose of us getting post-silicon validation done here, we do, in Lattice here, we do hardware FPGA design and development. We also do tools, software tools, EDA tools development here. We also do AI ML RISC-V architecture development here. So we have a big architecture team here. So end to end, we do this in Pune, especially in Pune here. The other thing that we are doing is the idea of getting the post-silicon to India is that it is not just here. In my previous organizations also, the post-silicon validation was a big step. In last 15 years, companies have actually moved their post-silicon validation labs to Pune. What happens with that, if we get support from government or government incentivizes that, it will be a big boost for what Sanjeev Keskarji was telling earlier on the OSAT or ATMPs. Because the entire, we can funnel the activities that we want to do elsewhere in APAC and other sites, those things can happen now in India with getting all of that here. So the purpose that we are trying to do internally is that we want to get those capabilities into the system here so that the component ecosystem around it can be built. So that is what when we are doing fabs and other things, others.
So Ashwini, sorry to interrupt you. So let me ask you, let's talk about, so I understand, and that's great that Lattice is doing all of this, but what would be your request to MCCI, to the folks present here, to push forward? So let's say, talking about talent, do we push forward for better semiconductor courses, or do we push for product management courses?
What is which are going on manufacturing successful? So these are the things which needs to be done. Although you said don't suggest anything to government, but I still would do it. We have PLI. PLI has single-handedly changed the landscape of electronics manufacturing in this country. If on the lines of PLI, we can do something called LLI, localization linked incentive, or semiconductor localization linked incentive. Any OEM which localizes semiconductor gets 4%, 3% as payback, just the way it happens in PLI. Again, so guys, focus on design. All of you, please check the hype around semiconductors. Scratch it. We are only talking about manufacturing. Okay? So, one last thing. This is my favorite thing. Now, I would like all of you to raise hands who believe that India is between 0 to 5 or 5 to 10 in our design power. Please raise hands.
Design?
Our design ability to create. See, I think there is only one. I want this. So this 0 to 5 or 5 to 10? 0 to 5. So rest, everybody believe that India is in 5 to 10. I would rate India at less than 1 to create local IPs. Right? Right. So we are what I call mercenaries of the world. We are hired, labor on hire. Okay? So please change the perspective, get it right, because if this ecosystem understands this properly, we together can change it.
Thank you. Thank you. I think that was a very, very powerful statement, Ashok ji. Right on, right? I am one of those mercenaries.
I'm also mercenary.
Yeah. No, I think this is a very, very important point, right? We keep hearing these statistics all the time that 20% of the semiconductor talent is out of India. But majority of this, I would say 80 to 90% is working for someone else. Very few of them are working for Indian companies. And I think all the points made so far, having the innovation mindset, product mindset, positioning, go to market, all of this come into play when we want to build Indian companies. And frankly, sorry to just take 1 minute on my view also, I wanted to add here, is that when we talk about creating systems which are secure and which are in control, ultimately manufacturing doesn't control that. What controls is the chip and the software that goes with it. So as long as that is in our control, we own that, I think that is where the maximum value for semiconductors as an industry and for the nation from a security point of view comes in. So yeah, moving on. Mr. Sridhar.
I mean, it's an emotional thing from Ashok, which is really the knock from every area of it into it. The way to address is, there are two things. One, we talked about IP belonging to us, which means Indians into it. Okay, how we are going to create it, how we can enable those things into it, and from the government, how the support can be extended, and how to focus those things into it. I think from our perspective, what we have to create, I think Mandal also mentioned about the IPs as the whole things, individual things. As Bluetooth, which is sitting into it, I don't think we are owning kind of things into it. We have to put the whole thing, and it will not happen overnight, and it is not easy to maintain into it. Though Mccia is trying to put some of the things, how effectively that is going to be supported, I mean, any user can think through it. The issue is not the IP. How to integrate into our system, SOC, and how to support that, how to take it to the next levels of it. Who is going to be holding that? That's the challenge which happens into it. Unless a serious entrepreneur comes and then say, I'm going to own it and then take it to the full things, it is not going to happen. So what we are trying here is the next phase of Safal, we are focusing on creating some of those IPs for a solution. Your other one is also marketing. You don't come back and say, I have a technology, I want to do something. No, you have a market space, this is the address into it, then we'll come back, what is the IP required, what is the target you're doing into it. So address from that side. You have a market, you have a space, even if you can go to the government and say, give a preferential treatment for, not on the quality, but on the pricing and some of those initial steps which is required to succeed into it. So from that perspective is also pushed into it. And then comes the execution of that. That is where it will come into it. That will have, impact only if, like I said, state level things, we have to do all the IPs. If you can do here related to power electronics and something on automotive spaces of it, IPs related to that, and some of the other pure power electronics, RF kind of things, we believe that it can be from Orissa. In terms of execution from the high performance computing, and some of the things can be focused at Karnataka region, and probably UP and some of those spaces can be and the financial related kind of things into it. So each region can generate some IPs and build the whole thing and own it. Then it becomes much more effective and we can really go into it.
Thank you, sir. So I think IP creation is another very important point. So last comment from Mr. Kaushik Mandal, please.
Yes, I only want to talk about, again, ground realities, right?
Yeah.
Because what we face, how do you solve it, right? Only two things, right? you know, if you see how Taiwan and Korea became a semiconductor powerhouse, if you really look at the fundamentals, most of the engineers are very hands-on there, very hands-on, right? When I mean hands-on, you not only design a chip, not only architect a chip, you go, when the chip is ready, you go test, measure, and characterize the chip, okay? That is hands-on skill. That is how you define, we were talking about being a design country, right? That's how you become a design country. Don't only look at simulating designs, making simulated files, really make these production-ready chips, right? So number one, hands-on skills can be only imparted by industrial training institutes. So you can collaborate with SSI in Singapore, ATRI in Taiwan, the Chamber of Commerce can actually collaborate with them to get that things rolling. Number two, the most important thing what I would say is that what is implementable is have tangible outcome-based micro consortiums which will solve certain problems. For example, if you have deficit of ESD availability, capability available here, bring exports from Taiwan or Singapore or Malaysia, wherever it is, have the consortium collaborated with maybe the Chamber of Commerce, but more so an industry taker and a local player, where every party benefits commercially, and make it tangible, defined by timelines. 1 year, if the consortium is successful, everybody has commercially benefited from it, go. If it is not benefit, close. Don't waste your time. So don't do a consortium for the sake of consortium. It doesn't run. Run a consortium which is tangible, outcome, deliverable based, right? So you can do micro consortiums on packaging. You can do micro consortiums on testing. You can do micro consortium on product management skills. And it can be all done. It is very small, deliverable based. That is what you can do here in the Chamber of Commerce.
Okay, thank you, thank you. So I think sorry, you.
So I think many of these can be addressed once we see a big successful startup coming out and then saying that I'm able to do it. Then it becomes easy for all our entrepreneurs to jump in and then say, I want to participate. Right now, we don't have a big successful design kind of things. I mean, he's struggling. He's putting down some of the things. As a market space, he's still depending. We should have that successful exit which actually pulls into it. Then it becomes much more attractive.
No, that is absolutely right. That is absolutely right. So I think there's a saying in Hindi which is "Kharbuja kharbuje ko dekh ke rang badalta hai," which is a watermelon changes its color by looking at another watermelon. So in a way, basically, once we have a successful entrepreneur, just like in the software industry, we have so many successful startups. They may be all service-based startups, not services, but service-based startups. Nonetheless, we have very successful startups. We are so far not creating software products per se that successfully, but we have a lot of those startups now. So I'll just quickly summarize the points, the challenges that people talked about once again. Sorry, you have a point?
One point, yeah. So I certainly believe that India has the potential and India has the best design engineers in the world, VLSI. So I certainly believe that. India amounts about 20% in terms of the design engineers. All what we need to do, and right now they're all working for the MNCs somewhere or the other. Right now we need to create that ecosystem where those engineers are willing to go and start working for the startups in India. So that is something that we need to think about.
Yeah.
So, but funnel is not, we have a full funnel, we have great talent as far as design engineering concerned in India.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. So I'll just once again summarize the problems that everyone's talked about. Access to talent, market, capital, logistics, CapEx, little availability of talent in Pune, specialized tools, go-to-market strategy, go-to-market people who will take you to market, and then certain specific things like ESD, libraries being available. I think those are broadly the challenges. But then when we started talking about how to solve that, I think overall the theme that has come out is that we need to create an entrepreneurial mindset, innovation mindset. We need to support young entrepreneurs in the industry to come up with products, to be able to manufacture those products, create the ecosystem for it. I think a lot of people are putting in a lot of effort around not only Pune, but around the country. And I think to join all of them, to create a more vibrant ecosystem. So, for example, Pune is very good at EMS. But probably someone in Hubli does not have access to it, and somebody wants to start a startup there. So, to be able to connect these different micro ecosystems that we have created in different cities, provide access to entrepreneurs, provide access to capital. I think creating a micro fund through the benefactors of an organization like MCCIA to support the entrepreneurs in developing products, creating innovation hubs, and something like Shuffle, incubator labs. I think that is the bottom line that we need to do, and advertise it so that people can come in, create the talent pool for it. And I think I see that happening, but we need to take it with full force. So definitely we will work with MCCIA to take it forward. Thank you once again, everyone, for joining this session, and I hope it was helpful to everyone. I'm sorry, we received only one question. Actually, not even a question, it was more a request for information rather than a question. So I would request Mr. Durai to really talk to Kaushik ji after this session. Do we have time? People are raising their hands now. No? We are out of time, really sorry.
We are out of time, and then we have the next session, which is online, for which the speakers have already joined us internationally. I'm sure all the speakers, they are here with us for some time, and we can, of course, connect with them offline. So thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We would like to felicitate you, for which I request Mr. Ajay Prasad Srivastava to please join us on stage and felicitate the speakers. To Mr. Kaushik Mandal, so we can use this space in the front. Mr. K. Sridhar. Mr. Ashwani Bhatt. Mr. Ashok Mishra. And to Mr. Sandeep Gupta. Thank you, Sandeep, for moderating the session so beautifully. We'll have a group picture, please. Thank you. Thank you so much. Next, we have a presentation by Mr. Gopal Vaidyanathan, CEO of the Onyx division of Accurate.
Thank you so much, and thank you, MCCIA, for having us and giving us the opportunity to be part of this event here. Many of you will have probably heard of Accurate. Accurate, the name got mentioned a few times as well today. Accurate has been known for having been one of the oldest engineering companies in Pune. We've been around since 1963. We're 62 years old now, more than 60 already. And during these years, we've concentrated a lot on metrology. We've done a lot of precision engineering, and CMMs, OMMs, VMMs, all kinds of metrology have been our forte for many, many years. And this is what we're known for. Today, we have the largest market share for CMMs in India. So that's the scale of our operations today. We are an ISO 9001, 2015 certified company. CMMs, even today, though we are the largest market share holder here in India, a lot of CMMs are still imported. And despite that, we are proud to say that we export CMMs to over 27 countries. So we are actually doing a reverse trade and having our equipment being implemented in countries around the world. And we have a solid network of service offices, calibration labs around the country, which makes access to our technology, access to our capabilities a lot more easier. Now, I'm going to go through the dots which connect us to today's event, so please bear with me. We started with metrology, but I'll tell you why we got here now. So back in 1963, when the company was first established, we were manufacturing, I was not around, I wasn't born then, but the company was manufacturing calipers, plug gauges, ring gauges. And during these years since then, the company has evolved into bigger and better and more amazing technologies. A lot of it around metrology. We've been working with customers like Bosch, the Indian Railways, a lot of central government as well as private enterprises around the country. More recently, we even served companies like Bosch. We've got CMMs that go from the size of being a tabletop, as small as a printer, all the way to being able to put an entire metro carriage into one single CMM. So that's the variety of CMMs that we offer. And in 2023, just 2 years back, we established the Onyx division, and I was nominated CEO of the Onyx division. This division has been serving the FATP lines business here in India. So we are focused on the 3C business, and within that, our largest customer base has been the FATP test equipment, centered mostly around the south of India. You might be able to guess which phones we're probably talking about.
For over 6
short video
decades,
quickly to
one
introduce
name
the company.
has defined precision metrology in India: accurate gauging. We are a company built on the science of measurement, holding the nation's largest market share in coordinate measuring machines. Our legacy is founded on enabling high-accuracy manufacturing across every major industry. We don't just measure quality, we provide the indispensable tools that guarantee it. This commitment to absolute precision is backed by unparalleled infrastructure and expertise cultivated over decades. This is the solid foundation from which we build every solution, driven by the need for speed and scalability. We expanded our domain into advanced automation for the 3C sector. This is where we perfected the fusion of metrology and precision engineering. This dedication to precision and volume is now centralized under our specialized business unit, Accurate Gauging's Onyx Robotic and Automation Division. Onyx quickly established its credentials in the 3C sector, building and retrofitting equipment's complex final assembly, test and pack FATP lines. We mastered the integration of precision components and high-speed motion control. Our commitment includes a robust on-site support services network. We provided continuous support, line bring-up, and sustenance services for thousands of machines across the country. This comprehensive service commitment has seen our teams maintain and sustain over 2,500 machines across multiple sites, ensuring minimal downtime and maximum yield for our partners. This operational excellence is our guarantee. With this proven legacy in precision engineering, high-volume automation, and extensive OSS network, Onyx Robotic and Automation is now poised to address the critical localization needs of the semiconductor industry in India. Our OSS model is ready to support the entire life cycle of semicon equipment, from rapid line bring up and qualification to long-term sustenance services that ensure operational continuity. We're building the future on a foundation of trust and measurement. We are the precision engine for the next era of technology. Accurate Gauging's Onyx Robotic and Automation Division, where every micron counts.
Thank you. So in summary, we are in the CMM business. We are also in the software business, in fact. There are a lot of metrology and quality-related softwares that we now have our own IP for. We can talk more about that. We have a booth outside here. When you have the time for it, do come along and meet us. We'll have a chat about it. We have a bunch of customers. Having been around for so many years, there's almost no automobile company, for example, that's not worked with us. It's a wide range of industries as well, which you will see in there. We have some fantastic facilities. People who come and see our granite machining facilities, for example, they see the expanse of what we do there, the kind of machining that gets done there, and all of that in the cleanliness and the quality and the orderliness and the discipline within which these precision structures are created. I mean, of course, they are finally meant for the semicon and the FATP lines, and all of this happens in Pune. Pune has not stepped into the industry as much as some other parts of the country, and we've talked about that in many other sessions this morning. But Accurate and the rest of the industry here, we're getting ready to serve the semicon industry as well. Talking specifically about Onyx, that's the division that I lead. We are, hand on heart, I will say we're just getting ready. We're getting started to start providing tooling, components, and OSS on-site support services. Now, we have a network of organizations that we work for. Many of them, you recognize there are some people in here who also belong to some of these organizations. What we are really focusing on to get started with is on-site support services. There's going to be a need of hundreds and thousands of OSS all over the country once the fab lines are all up and running. During this time, you will require NPI, new product introduction, troubleshooting, calibration, audits, and build-to-build validation. So all of these OSS services is what we provide. We have actually even started with, we've created a training institute. We call it the Accurate Academy, again, based inside our premises in Saswat. We might move it to Jejuri very soon, where we have our next acquired infrastructure coming up. In this setup, we provide training for resources who are straight out of college, who need the skills to start serving industry. We've not addressed the semiconductor industry, but I'm here to talk to all of you, talk to other interested partners, that we can start setting up these semiconductor-specific facilities, both for the OSS as well as for the user side. And of course, we'd love to partner with MCCIA when we're doing this. So just to recap, I know we're running out of time. Just to recap, I'll just mention, if it comes to precision parts, if it comes to tooling facilities, or if it comes to on-site support services, or even training to get some of these resources ready, we'd love to support you. So thank you very much once again. Thank you.
Recording in progress.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gopal. As he rightly said, they do have a booth. We request all of you to please visit them. I request Mr. Sanjeev Keskar to please felicitate Mr. Gopal. A big thank you to the Accurate Group for being the gold sponsor for this event. The next session is pretty much online. The topic is Global Partnerships for a Resilient Semiconductor Future. We have Mr. Aditya Fouquet, Senior Manager, Fraunhofer Gesellschaft, Germany, who is joining here in person. I invite you on the stage, please, Mr. Aditya. And online, we have Mr. Erez Imberman, ex-VP, Tower Semiconductor, Israel, Ms. Christy Shu, Director, CIER, Taiwan, Mr. Sanjay Bhandari, he is Dr. Sanjay Bhandari, CEO, Vibrant Microsystems, USA, and Mr. Sanjeev Sharma, CEO, Excel.dots AB, Sweden.
First of all, very good afternoon, everyone, and thank you to MCCI and to Mr. Sanjeev Keskar for considering participation of Fraunhofer Gesellschaft in this esteemed conference. My name is Aditya. I work as Senior Manager for Strategic Projects, Smart Cities and IoT with the India office of Fraunhofer Gesellschaft. And it is my honor to welcome my fellow panelists. I'm not sure whether how we should proceed because I have to start with the presentation and then maybe I can then ask other speakers to make their own presentations or give an impromptu statements, and then we can, if time permits, we'll be happy to take some of the questions from the audience. Yeah? Yeah. That's fine. My sincere apologies for the technical problems. In the interest of time, I would like to invite our esteemed speaker from Israel, Mr. Erez Imberman, ex-VP Tower Semiconductor, to please make a speech.
Okay, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, thank you very much. I just tried to put my presentation on the board. Can you see my presentation or not?
It's visible. You can proceed.
Okay, so first, thank you very much, MCCI, for inviting me for this session. It's a privilege working. I have the privilege working in India, semiconductor journey for the last 15 years. First time I stepped into India in February 2010, and when starting with Tower, the refurbished fab in semiconductor laboratory in Mohali, when I managed this program for Tower, and then there I'm having a lot of activities in India related to the semiconductor, and I speak about it in a second. Now, what excited me now is the global partnership, right? This is the main for this session. By moving from various MOUs that starting having between companies for the execution, and to see how taking it for the next level of execution in order to make India the semiconductor hub, as mentioned by India government. That's the goal, right? So a few words about myself. So I have about more than 35 years in the semiconductor industry, starting in 1988 after 10 years in the Israeli army. I'm speaking out from Israel, by the way, and sitting in my office in Israel. Most of the time I spent with Tower Semiconductor, okay, which have various roles on operations, engineering, and the last job was a VP of Business Development. And for this job, I get involved with India, as I said, from 2010. Tower Semiconductor, I led the India Strategy, SCL project, and many other activities with government of India. And I tried to put together a fab for Tower in India, which finally was not succeed, but I can speak about it in a few words later. For this role, starting 2010 till today, I visited India more than 10 times a year for the last 15 years. So I met India, I've been in India for more than 150 times, whatever. And I get to know something about India and something about the semiconductor. And in between Tower, I have a break in 5 years when I manage Intel fab creation in Israel. It's called Fab 28 in the south of Israel, and I manage the program. And in my early career, I started, it was National Semiconductor that later on became Tower Semiconductor, etc. So this is relatively about myself and my India experience. Right now, I am about to start a new job in an Israeli company called Semiconductor Devices, which is doing detectors for defense, etc. But in this session, I was asked to represent Mind. Israel Mind is a non-profit organization which is taking care of Israel security activities, and it's an organization that is building the understanding that Israel has technology related to security, economy, etc. So Mind Israel is an organization that giving support globally to support and secure Israel on technology, and also working with global, with other countries. And one of the countries which is really in focus is India. One of the advisors for this Mind Israel is the previous ambassador of Israel to India and other people. So I am also representing this organization in here. I will not spend too much time on this one. This everybody knows, the India Semiconductor Vision that created by Prime Minister Modi, and later on taken to Ministry of Electronics and MIT, and Minister Ashwini and the team, later on by ISM, that I'm a pleasure working with them for the last 10 years. Either Sushil Pal or Secretary Krishnan or all the rest of the team. That is try to build a roadmap for having India a semiconductor player, I would say, in the global world. And we can see that in the last couple of years, the policy is getting better, the incentive is getting better. ISM is doing an excellent job by having these 10 or 15 projects already on board. And right now they are talking about the ISM 2.0, which is going to increase the number, the amount of incentive in order to make India the semiconductor hub and the semiconductor for the world. When I came to India in 2010, it was starting talking about that. And as I said, I was starting by doing the semiconductor laboratory in Mohali, but then it started all the discussion about how to make India the semiconductor hub for the world. And then it started the policy with the government, and in person I was involved as part of Tower in many projects trying to make a fab for Tower in India. Finally, it was the support, the great support that's given by India government, which is 50% grant of capital, and then the Maharashtra government or other state government giving 32 or above percent as well, which is really attract, and this is the right way how to attract companies or countries to come and support India in this journey. Lately, I've seen this statement come, and I'm not an India speaker, but I see this word, Swadeshi, I hope that I say it right, but it appears in many of the slogan of people from India, mainly from government, which is really, it's the right thing to do. It said, I want to make in India. And this is a line again with the Make in India, Digital India, and Skills India, and all these slogans that creates in the last decade by Prime Minister and his team in order to make India the semiconductor hub. And again, this all we all know, right? It is spread right now. There are 10 projects which are all over. Unfortunately, it's only one real fab, I would say, which is the Tata PSMC fab in Dholera in Gujarat, which is a real semiconductor facility, foundry, that is pushing by Tata. All the rest is not, I would say, is not a foundry, not a fab, but it's mostly assembly and testing and other stuff. And this is kind of a little bit frustrating, but again, this is the situation as of now. I'm sorry that I'm going very fast, but later on I put this presentation with many details. Later on you can take a look and read it and get in touch with me and we can discuss more. About the global collaboration. So India has a lot of collaboration right now with the world and try to attract the global companies and governments to collaborate and support India. I will touch in a second Israel in specific, but Israel in the past, as I said, is the SCL stuff. But in Japan, there is a lot of collaboration. In Korea, Taiwan, US, Europe, Singapore, and other. And basically, in the area of getting the OEM, getting the supply chain, getting the ecosystem, which is absolutely not exist right now as it has to be in India in order to be mature. And it takes time. And we know it takes time. But it is a good start that people are start engaging and building the activities in India. There are many challenges and risks that we'll know about that.
Sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Imberman.
Yes, sir.
In the interest of time, we would request if you could wrap up your presentation in 1 to 1.5 minutes.
That's fine. I will do that.
Thank you.
Regarding the challenge and risks, there's a lot of them, and you all know about it. You can take a look later on. The vendor base is not there. India depend on imports. Technology transfer and expertise is not there. Resource and skill development, this is a different session that everybody is talking about it right now in India. Lack of the pure material, dependency of the supply chain, infrastructure gap, geopolitical risk and situation, and all these are making India difficulties in order to be what you want to be, the number one in the world. However, I would like to summarize with saying that there is a lot of things that India can take, for example, from Israel, okay, in order to do it better. For example, technology license, we know that Tata is licensing from PSMC. We know that few companies try to license from Tower, for example. But there's not only Towers, there's also other companies in Israel that has technology that can be licensed and can collaborate with India company. Co-invest with Israeli labs and others. Establish joint lab. Training. Israel has few manufacturing facilities and startups that can give support on training and collaboration on skill development and getting expertise. I think one of the things that Israel has a lot of experts, okay, a lot of executive and expert in any area, from process engineering to technical, equipment engineering, R&D, customer support, equipment, all these things can be elaborated with India and collaborate with India companies in order to get it and just shorten the time to market, because India need all of this, and India has a lot of talents around the globe, but getting experts to support, at least to start the journey, is very important, and it can be available. Also using foundry services in Israel or in Taiwan or other ways in order to shorten time to market. What I try to summarize here is all the things that can be paid or buy expertise in order to shorten the time. I think this is something that India must consider very seriously in order to shorten the time, because otherwise it will take very, very long time to get into the point of collaboration. There's some of the Israeli forums that are working right now with India. There's a lot of them, okay? And these forums are really giving a good support to India and working with India together. And I believe that this is, I will end it here because of the time, and I'm sorry that it takes a little bit longer. There's a lot of talk about on these things. But I believe that this kind of forums and this kind of discussion is a good start to get the relations and the collaboration in order to develop it furthermore in the future. So thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Imberman, for a very excellent presentation. In order to keep up with the chronology and also in the interest of the time, I would make my presentation and then we can continue with the speakers. Am I audible now? Yeah. As this panel focuses on global partnerships, so I'm here representing Fraunhofer Gesellschaft from Germany. So I have a very brief presentation to make. My presentation will cover three areas about Fraunhofer, who we are, what we do, the profile of Fraunhofer in microelectronics, and the opportunities for cooperation between India and Germany around this subject. Okay, I'll just anyway start. Fraunhofer Gesellschaft is the largest applied research and development organization in Europe. We have some 75 research institutes under our umbrella with a staff of nearly 32,000 employees. We operate with an annual research budget of 3.6 billion euros, out of which 70%, more than 70% is what we earn from direct industry contracts. So the remainder is what we get from the German federal government to maintain our infrastructure. So the primary bread and butter for Fraunhofer is direct industry contracts. We are active in more than 80 countries, and we typically file more than 600 patent applications a year. So just quick amazing facts about Fraunhofer. We are the inventors of MP3 white LEDs. We hold world record of maximum solar battery storage and fastest transmission of data. We have institutes within Fraunhofer which can go up to zero batch production. And our institutes have labs which are at least 2 to 3 years ahead of the industry standards. We typically do 10,000 projects every year. And the focus of Fraunhofer in the entire innovation scale, the slides were up so that the graphic would have clarified this particular slide in much more detail. So just to read out, the focus of Fraunhofer is typically from technology readiness level 3 to 9. We take the research from lab level to commercialization, as close to commercialization as possible. Within Fraunhofer, since it is very difficult to classify Fraunhofer into any particular business domain, we identify ourselves as industry agnostic. We work across all the industry sectors. And with microelectronics being one of the most important areas. To address all the industry problems, we have formed alliances within Fraunhofer, and one of them is the Microelectronics Alliance. We also offer industry-based training programs, skilling programs for the industry professionals, and as well as we collaborate with universities in developing some curriculum for value-added skilling initiatives. So my next part is about Fraunhofer in electronics. So we have 13 institutes under Fraunhofer that focus on various aspects of microelectronics and semiconductor topics. Our R&D services, we offer end-to-end R&D services for the entire semiconductor value chain. We have services for component manufacturers from batch to low volume manufacturing. We undertake contract research, feasibility studies, technology and process development, material assessment. We support in design services, give access to multi-project wafer services. We offer characterization, testing, and reliability services to the industry. And lastly, licensing of processes and technologies. Perfect. So this slide highlights the broad technology portfolio of Fraunhofer, covering the developments across the entire value chain. Right from sensor systems, power electronics, optoelectronic systems, MEMS-based devices, microwave and terahertz, Fraunhofer offers end-to-end solutions, end-to-end capabilities in design, fabrication, integration, characterization, and testing. We also support system integration of CMOS circuits, advanced chip and chiplet design, and access to multi-project wafer services for cost-effective prototyping, which allows chip designers to share fabrication of single silicon wafer. Our competencies can serve wide range of applications, particularly in the transport, automotive, energy sector, general manufacturing, industry 4.0, telematics, healthcare, and civil security and occupational safety. We have 13 state-of-the-art clean rooms across Germany, all owned by Fraunhofer. Fraunhofer offers a very unique proposition to all the stakeholders involved in this entire ecosystem. The chip foundries get access to specialized technology modules and can manage up to small volume prototypes. The integrated device manufacturers get access to advanced R&D services and system integration support to bring new products into the market. The semiconductor customers get access to specialized solutions for developing proof of concept and demonstration of high TRLs, low batch production. The research community benefits from the extended technology portfolio of Fraunhofer for conducting joint research for their industry partners. And for the startups, they can work and perform their innovations without the need to own a clean room facility. Fraunhofer usually collaborates with industry through R&D projects, feasibility studies, technology and process development, prototype development, pilot production, and technology licensing, thus offering or enabling innovation from concept to commercialization. Areas of focus for Fraunhofer in India are largely around energy, production technology, AI, electric vehicles, smart cities, and electronics. 2 months ago, we had conducted our flagship conference in India, the 7th edition of our flagship conference in India, namely 7th Fraunhofer and Innovation Technology Platform, focused on microelectronics and Semiconductors with the esteemed support of Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Mccia Government of India. And in that conference, we had also released a knowledge paper which brings out the cooperation identifies the areas of cooperation between India and Germany. So there are some 9 broad topics which were also covered in my, in the presentation shared by the earlier speaker. Basis on that knowledge paper, we see that India and Germany have a great opportunity to collaborate in microelectronics and semiconductor by combining German technology expertise with India's growing potential scale. We envisage cooperation in advanced sensors, particularly in the electromagnetic sensor domain, VLSI, chip designing, silicon carbide, gallium nitride based power devices, and advanced packaging, be it at wafer level or system level. Our partnership portfolio between India and Germany also covers MEMS-based devices, terahertz imaging, 5G, 6G testing platforms, low-cost optical communication solutions, particularly for the automotive, let's say LiDAR and medical imaging in healthcare sector, and system reliability and testing, particularly for the predictive maintenance and failure analysis of the electronic systems. And lastly, skilling. As we underscore skilling, or we identify workforce training as one of the most crucial elements and the overarching topics required for identified as a specific topic of collaboration between India and Germany, and is also one of the overarching topics across all the earlier topics that I had presented. That's it. I thank you very much for your attention. Next, I would like to invite our esteemed speaker from Taiwan, Ms. Christy Su, Director CIER.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me here. It's a very pleasure to be here. And today is Taiwan Republic of China's National Day. So I'm here in my office without air condition. I want to thank you very much for having me here. And also I heard in previous session and also the previous speaker talk a lot about Taiwan. Yes, Taiwan has been very, very active trying to enhance its relations with India. And this started with 30 years ago. So different from Israel or from Germany, which have developed long-term relation with India. Taiwan has been in India only for 30 years. And it's not until the last 10 years that Taiwan began to realize the importance and potential of India. And therefore, in the past 6-7 years, a lot of Taiwanese companies either come here directly from Taiwan to invest and build out their factories and supply chains, or a lot of Taiwanese companies are relocating their supply chains from China towards India, and that is responding to the recent trend of relocation of supply chain away from China. So companies, including Taiwanese companies, as well as their Western customers, can find supplies and production base out of China. This is what we call the China Plus One. So India has been very, very important. And talking about Taiwan-Indian relation, I think it's the ICT and also electronic have been a very, very important sectors, because in the past 5-6 years, we have witnessed every single large Taiwan ICT electronic company have come here to India. In different states, mostly they focus in Gujarat, in Tamil Nadu, or in Karnataka, and also Adesh, AP state for building their supply chain. And therefore, they have been here. And why they are here? One reason is they are looking for potential country to build out their supply chain. The second reason is they are invited or asked by their customers to switch their supply chain coming here to India to support products produced assembled in India for international market. So I think that is a very important for Indian coming to the global supply chain, because you have the support from Western countries and also from multinationals. So that is a very good beginning for Taiwan Indian relations, because Taiwan actually is producing, either manufacturing, producing, or supplying products or parts for Western country, and therefore they found a place here to work in India. And the second thing is we noticed that in the past 3-4 years, and this collaboration of supply chain have moved from ICT electronic product towards more sophisticated collaboration. That includes, for the first time, 4 or 5 years ago, the iPhone supply chain is actually coming to India and driven by some of Taiwanese company, and the most notable is the Foxconn company. Foxconn right now has several factories in India and producing iPhone for American market. And last year, 2024, Foxconn still assemble and export most of its iPhone from Chinese factories to the American market. But since this year, 2025, because of Trump 2.0, and also these unilateral sanctions, etc., and also these uncertainties posed on Chinese production, and therefore Foxconn has made a very, very wise decision. Right now, they have made their factories in India the most important places for their production for American market. So you will notice that probably from this year, for all the iPhones, Apple, for all these iPhone imported into the US, a big chunk of them is from India instead of from China. So that is a very, very important transition. The second very important transition is following electronics and also ICT industry. Taiwanese companies are also noticed the potential of having semiconductor supply chain collaboration in India, and that is not only responding to the Prime Minister Modi's call for having India as a very important hub for semiconductor, but also because our Taiwanese company also try to work very, very hard to build up the so-called non-China supply chain. Meaning, if you want to supply your products, including chips, including other products, you have to build up your production bases out of China, so that there will be no security issue, no other issue, and they will be accepted in Western market. And for that reason, so Taiwanese companies are also coming here. Unfortunately, we do have only one project, as mentioned by Mr. Ibrahim, that currently only one Taiwanese company, which is PXMC, full name is Power Chip Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, right now is in India, working together with Tata Electronics, and that are adopting a technology transfer mode, which means the PSMC, the Taiwanese company, is not investing here. Instead, they have the Tata Electronics making all the investment, while PSMC is transferring all this technology for 28 nanometers for Tata here, and mostly for EV and also for other market. And for Taiwan, this is a very, very unique and very, very new model by having technology transfer, because most of our other projects, for example, UMC, TSMC, most of them are investing fabs directly in other countries. So we do hope that this new model, this technology transfer will be successful. And I have heard that they are now doing really good. And following the PSMC, and we have received a lot of delegations from India from time to time. The last delegation came to Taiwan 2 weeks ago to join the Semicon exhibitions in Taiwan. And they were inviting Taiwanese company to, more companies to come here to invest in testing, packaging, and IC, etc., etc. And I think that there are a lot of potentials for IC design and also testing and packaging here. For example, you may know that Taiwan's company MediaTek which is the world's second largest IC design company, has been in India more than 10 years, and they have hired more than 1,000 engineers in India for producing their products. However, in terms of testing packaging, I think currently there still are a lot of challenges to be solved. For example, Taiwanese company right now focus more in Malaysia, in Singapore, probably other Southeast Asia for testing and packaging capacity. So coming to India may take some time. So we are very happy to understand that the ISM2 is coming and also will provide a lot of more incentive to encourage foreign companies to come. The last but not least, I would want to make one point. I was also in India last week for another meeting, and then I was interviewed by Indian Express on Wednesday, so they came with an interview, my remarks on Wednesday. So in that interview, I elaborate that the India has to be focusing and also concentrating its chip vision. For example, I think that for India, the most important thing is to have not the most advanced chips here to be fabricated, because you need to have the market. But currently, India has a good market potential for using what we call the mature chips or legacy chips, which is about 28 nanometer for automobile and also for other industries. So Indian can be more focused. I believe Indian, not for most advanced chip. We are talking about 2 nanometer, 3 nanometer, but for 28 nanometer, that kind of chips. I believe for Indian, also for foreign company, they will find the best place to invest and also cooperate here in India. So with that note, I'm going to conclude. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Christie. Thank you very much, Ms. Christie, for sharing your wonderful perspectives from Taiwan and sharing your vision for extended cooperation with India. Next, I would like to invite Dr. Sanjay Bhandari, CEO, Vibrant Microsystems from USA.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, your presentation is also visible.
Okay, great. So I'll just go quickly through this presentation. Many of the speakers I covered. Many of and so on. I started my journey with Semiconductor Complex Limited, that was also mentioned earlier on, Chandigarh-based, India's first fab. And then I worked with a number of IDMs, and I worked with a number of fabless companies. So I have had opportunity to really see the spectrum from both sides. And the reason I kind of mentioned that is that's what actually, in that perspective, I can see how this collaboration with not just US, but all the countries with India can be developed going forward. I also had a really opportunity to ship billions of product units. I worked in sensor space very extensively. Billions of sensors went into smartphones, smartwatches, automotives, healthcare, a lot of different technologies into audio and consumer applications. So now let's switch to the discussion of today, which is the semiconductor ecosystem and where we can collaborate. And since the topic given to me is India-US collaboration,
Bhandari, sorry to interrupt you. Could you please switch to slideshow?
Okay, sure.
At the bottom. The rightmost. Yes. Perfect.
Okay, so in the ecosystem, again, these are all the components that make the semiconductor ecosystem, starting with fabless designs, fabs, design layout, and so on, packaging, OEM. And the reason I talk about that is traditionally, the collaborations between US companies and Indian companies or design houses have been focused on mainly product companies using design and layout services or hardware, software, firmware. the fabs, as a number of other speakers mentioned, even for US, we have been using fabs in Taiwan, other parts of Asia. And the back-end services have also been focused in other countries. So the US and India collaborations, if you will, has been mostly very large multinational companies like, for example, Texas Instruments, National Semiconductor in the past, and so on, having tens of thousands of employees, designers working from India. And there are also a number of independent design houses and layout houses in India who have done some level of support work for US companies, and also development for hardware, software, and firmware. So this is just in the past. Now going forward, how do I see the scope of this? Is that all these angles that we saw in the previous slide, because now we have India is also creating their own fabs. So now all of these interactions are possible, that a fab in India could also leverage resources or product companies from US. And I'm saying US, but it's really global. So the fabs have to attract now the products, so that means they have to work together with those companies, the fabless companies in US, and so on. Also there are packaging and assembly companies coming in India. So all of these collaborations are going forward possible, and rather than creating all these matrices, I just wanted to focus on a few areas. So first, I want to recognize that now there is a rise of India-based OEMs, the very successful ones. Just to name some in the earbud space, there is Boat, for example, which is in the top 3 companies now worldwide, shipping large volume. So they have created branding, differentiation, low cost, and targeted to Asian markets, and so on. So now this expertise, so in the past, for example, US multinationals were creating design hubs in India. Now the reverse could start happening, and obviously there are already some examples of that happening. That Adani, for example, has started some development centers here as well. So targeting US-based markets is another one. Traditionally, again, over the last 2 decades, 3 decades, China has specifically targeted US-based markets, and that's how their semiconductor system has grown as where we see it today. So India can also do that same thing, because irrespective of what the tariff situation, how that evolves, there is still a large opportunity for US-based markets for Indian companies to address. Now for OEMs, particularly to upsell their features, because okay, it's one thing to create the first level of products, but to be competitive, you have to keep on upselling those features, whether it's consumer electronic products or whether it's automotive product and so on. And in that sense, I just gave example of sensors, but a lot of different products that are coming from US markets, they can help these OEMs to have this value add. So that collaboration, again, this wasn't existing in the last decade. This is something that's going to come up now. The next one is licensing of technologies and patents. US has been in the top patent filing countries in the world. So there is a lot of IP here, and Indian OEMs, and I'm saying OEMs, but also R&Ds can leverage that IP and collaborate with that one. Now let's talk about R&Ds. So R&Ds, again, they are rising. There are ODMs, there are R&D hubs, there are universities also. They can do also a lot of joint development. I'm saying product development, but also in terms of research development. Also, again, they can leverage a lot of licensing technologies and patents from US-based organizations, and creating infrastructure and resources within universities that requires training or cross-fertilization. US universities, for example, participating there, and Indian universities kind of participating here. Also leveraging expertise from US. There is a lot of India-based or non-resident Indian who have come here and developed over these years a lot of expertise, and India should utilize that. So there has to be some forum, and MCCI could take a lead in that. There could be other forums that are taking lead. I am personally in the board of one of the non-profit organization which is also doing similar work. It's called Garze Marathi, and also working for Maharashtra there. So in Indian fabs, again, they can leverage a lot as they go into nanometer level of technologies, licensing of technologies. This is the fabrication technologies, but also many of these fab equipment suppliers the leading ones are based in US. So Applied Materials, Lam, I just took some examples over there. But keeping fabs, once you have a fab, keeping that fab full becomes one of the mainstream thing to drive that fab. And that has to attract not just the customers, but you have to kind of create specialty semiconductor processes. Somebody earlier mentioned about creating focus into specialty technologies like GaN and so on, or compound semiconductors. So those are the right focuses in order to differentiate and create something that's a competitive worldwide in terms of fab infrastructure as well. OSATs, some OSATs have started coming to India or started development in India. There are more advanced packaging technologies like the 3D packaging and so on. So again, licensing of these technologies is possible. That's a quick entry into these markets, or getting into the high end of the OSAT. Purchasing, assembly of test equipment, there are also advanced test equipment suppliers here. Specialty package development, just as we speak about fabs in order to be a differentiator, packages also can differentiate themselves, and so that they can create a niche for specific attracting really globally different products coming to India. So that's my presentation. There are a lot of things that we can talk about. Some of the speakers covered about their own geographies, but all of these presentations are really meant to say that there are so many opportunities for collaboration, and many of the organizations can play a leading role in that. So if there is any help that we can do from here, we would certainly be happy to do that. With the Indian universities, Vinayak spoke earlier, and I have been working with some of the universities like COIP and so on to encourage them, support them in terms of the expertise that we can provide from here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bhandari, for your wonderful presentation. Next we have, joining from Sweden, Mr. Sanjeev Sharma, CEO Excel Dots AB. I would like to invite Mr. Sanjeev Sharma. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Namaste. My name is Sanjeev. I am based out in Stockholm in Sweden. I am a co-founder and CEO at Excel Dots. I have been into the semiconductor industry for nearly 25 years. I started my career as an analog engineer, working for Wipro, and then started another startup in the semiconductor IP space. I'm also a core member of SAFAL. When just 10 years back, we were doing a brainstorm of having an accelerator for fabless companies, and I'm so happy to see that in just 10 years, we have now started talking about the global participations, global collaborations, IP creations, so many things, and then probably dozens of SAFAL kind of things are also going to happen in country very soon. Some 9 years back, I moved to Sweden and started a company on sustainability space, mainly focused on the water sustainability. And since I have been working in semiconductor for so long, I'm also trying to see how we can bridge the ecosystems at the both of the end. And what potential that I see, the ability of some very interesting technologies over here, and some right policies and all. And also at the same time, we are seeing a vibrant India. Just last month, I was there in India attending the Semicon 2025. And, I also brought a couple of people from Nordic side to attend that event and see a different, transitions whatsoever is happening in country. And, India and Europe, it's a very long relations, right? So they have been collaborating each other for quite long period of time. Just to give the number, there are nearly 300 companies are there in, from the Sweden in India. And if we talk about the Europe, like, okay, maybe 6,000 plus companies generating 1.5 million plus direct jobs kind of it. So I just, share, I mean, I have just prepared a very few slides. I will maybe, let me try to share these things with you. Just one second. Let me know if you can see my slides.
Yes, we can see.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we can
Yeah.
see your.
So I will be just talking, a few minutes from a EU-India nexus point of view, and then also highlighting the, if we marry the policies between the Europe and India, how we are going to benefit out of it. Just to set a perspective that, we all know, very soon in just 5 years, semiconductor industry is going to be almost a $1 trillion business. And most of the business that now you see, like you have the clear things that, okay, from where the growth will be coming, right? So we clearly see the computing, wireless communications, automotive electronics are like the main drivers to be there kind of. So even from India's perspective, if we have to do something where we are looking for a, say, we want to make the semiconductor and sunshine kind of a industry. So we have to shift our focus on the growth area rather than, the where the potentials are probably flat kind of a thing. And and when we all know, like, okay, if we stick to the old technologies or the matured technologies and all, probably again we are not going to achieve a lot kind of a thing. So when we look at the the collaborations between the or whatsoever is available in the Europe, right? So there are so many things in the industrial electronics, perhaps the MEMS, advanced sensors, when it talks about the automotive electronics, there are, the silicon carbide has been talked about, gallium nitride, IGBTs, LDMOS. These are some of the technologies, which makes a lot of differences in, or they can bring a fresh growth kind of a thing. Similarly, for computing, HPC, quantum computing, AI, photonics, and all. Wireless communications, there are a lot of things happening on the 6G, 5G, new radios, non-terrestrial network, gallium nitride, the electronic warfare. These are the segments are there where probably we can see a lot of new growth opportunity. And that's what the window that I define is the window for the collaborations between the EU and India. And, just if we just look at the two things, like, okay, if we collaborate on the silicon carbide or the, the things, the technology point of view, or the gallium nitride from a power electronics point of view, or the AI and HPC. So these are the, the growth we can expect in the next 4 to 5 years kind of thing. And I call it like the green corridor because this is the need of the hour too, because we need efficient power systems, we need very efficient computings and all. So just, if we have to just combine the previous slides and this slide, I mean, the clear thing is there, like, okay, if we have to be successful, we need to be leader in the market. And then for that purpose, we need to look at our, the investment, look at our, our all the efforts where we are going to put it. And those areas which is going to give us a more momentum, more growth kind of a thing, we have to look at for those kind of a thing. And we have to also look for the partnerships which can help us in terms of achieving those kind of an objectives. This is the slide talks about, like, okay, if we, combine the best of the policies from the two, from Europe and India, what we are going to achieve, right? So all of you know, like, okay, just 2 years back, EU has rolled out a chip act. We call it the EU chip act or the simple chip act. And this is like over 40 billion, billion euro commitments from a private public partnerships in Europe. And in the similar line, like, okay, we have an ISM. Now ISM 2.0 is also there with a very broader perspective. So, and then Europe and India, they are also engaging in multiple way kind of a thing at the policy level. One is the free trade agreements are being discussed between the EU and India. There is the TTC committees, we call it the Trade and Technology Council. This working group worked with several countries. Now they are also engaged with India. And the charter for this, we know very well. But, I'm just trying to see, like, okay, if we leverage each other, what we are going to achieve from that. Is just from a supply chain, and manufacturing point of view, the focus in the Europe is mostly on the bleeding node kind of a thing, and then some very specialty node around the FDSOI, photonics, MEMS and all. And the similar line, like, okay, if we see like India, we have a lot of focus on the ATMPs, OSATs, and, and then the technologies, the fab, which is in the mature node kind of a thing. So, if we leverage each other, India has an additional advantage. They can have an access to the advanced technologies transfers, and then also contributing to the Western supply chain. Similarly, on the R&D and innovation side, most of the money, goes towards fundamental R&D here in the Europe. There are so many leading R&D institutes are there. The Fraunhofer we have today. Aditya is there from Fraunhofer. Similarly, IMEC, CA Leti. In Sweden, we have a RISE. Then in Finland, we have VTT. All these institutes, they are very active in microelectronics and semiconductor research as well as having a partnership with this kind of an institutions will certainly give us a lot of leverage to us. And, what we are going to achieve with these collaborations, the VLSI talent pool, which normally we call it almost 20% of the global pool is being, from India kind of a thing. So those guys will be also, acquainted in the advanced technology side, say HPC, AIs, 6Gs, and so on and so forth. So that is what is also going to help us in terms of getting into the, products, especially where we have a high growth potentials kind of it. When it comes to the skill development, this was one of the largest challenges here in the Europe. In the, the chip acts, the first pillar, mainly it was focused on the, the competence centers development kind of a thing in the various countries. We see that in the
Mr.
similar
Sharma,
line.
we are running behind schedule. We would appreciate if you could wrap up your presentation in a minute or two.
Okay, so fine. So I will just say, like, okay, tell you like a couple of actions what we are seeing, from the Europe side, especially in the Sweden side and then the Finland side, we are having right now, where we have several workshops and the country workshops we are in. We have organized and organizing through the various the channels in India, just in order to expedite more matchmaking and then understanding each other kind of a thing. Through different programs, the government-sponsored program and industry-sponsored program, we are enabling the triple helix collaborations, where the industry, government and also and academia is playing a big role kind of a thing. There is a lot of scope from technology transfers and IP licensing, which will enable the, the industries in India very well, and then also support the European Western supply chain kind of a thing. And the last thing I must say, in order to make it more realistic, we have to enable the investment in the corridor so that the industries at both sides should be able to scale fast. And with this, I will be stopping here. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sharma. So, so in this session, we heard the perspectives of 5 different countries: Israel, US, Sweden, Taiwan, as well as Germany. Concerning the growing potential in this sector in India. There is a strong need for collaboration opportunities, as you might have seen in the slides that were shared by my fellow speakers. On a personal note, I would like to extend sincere thanks to all the speakers who have taken time out of their busy schedule and to join this conference from different time zones. I'm not sure if we have enough time for the questions since we are running behind schedule. I would kindly like to hand over the floor to MCCI for further correspondence.
Thank you so much. Very grateful to today's speakers, Aditya, Erez, Christy, Dr. Sanjay, and Mr. Sanjeev. We would love to host you at MCCI whenever you happen to come to Pune, India, the next. A quick felicitation for Mr. Aditya. I invite on stage Mr. Manish Sharma from Stpi. Thank you, Aditya, for driving the conversation so well. Stpi is the silver sponsor for this event. We are very grateful to them for their support. Thank you. We now break for lunch. Since we are running a little behind the time, we would have to squeeze the lunch break and keep it short to 30 minutes. We'll meet back in the room by, say, 5 minutes past 2. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you very much.